never mean to hurt you. I love you.
I know you don't mean it. But it can't always be when you want it.
In 1977, in the state of Oregon, a clause was deleted from the rape law. Previously, marriage or cohabitation was a defense against a charge of rape. Under the revised law, this defense does not exist. A man can be accused of raping his wife. If found guilty, the maximum penalty is 20 years in jail.
This is the best breakfast that I've had since I married you.
Well, you're the cook. What do you want from me?
It's a dumb question.
Oh, these are the good times, you know, when we can sneak away. Away from all that crap. Jobs, debts, landlords, nosy neighbors.
Yeah. Even Jenny.
Yeah, even Jenny. At least we're not sleeping in the car right now because we haven't got any place else to sleep. That was awful, you know, those couple of months. Sleeping in the car because we had to. We're really moving up in the world.
I'm working on it.
I know you are. Me too. Let's just forget about it. Let's think right now, this minute.
You're gorgeous, Bernadette.
That's what got you into all this, John Joseph. Why'd we have to come back so soon? You're not working.
You're working.
Tell me about it. I could have got a little more time off. One night away just doesn't seem to... It's just not enough.
No, it's not the time, it's the money.
Tell me about that. I don't know why you quit that job. They liked you at the coffee shop. They liked you better than the 50 other places.
Look, come on, I never quit any other 50 places.
Okay, I'm exaggerating, okay?
Yeah, you're good at that. I quit that dumb job so I could get a dumb high school degree, so maybe I can get a better dumb job. Like, I'm a young guy, I don't know what you're worrying about. It's not like I'm saying I'm gonna retire.
I'm sorry. I know you take on so much. You go to school and try to hold down a job. It's just we can barely pay the babysitter so I can work.
I'll babysit.
How are you gonna babysit and get to your classes?
I don't know, I guess I can. I didn't think.
Don't tell me. I know you didn't think. Except about poor John. Poor baby. He can't work and go to school. We both know that most of the time you don't even go to class.
Will you shut up?
gonna get Jenny, you better get moving.
No, I'm not getting Jenny. I'm gonna go to class.
You really think I'm some kind of a moron, don't you?
Well, I never went for the brainy type, girl, you know? So I don't know what you're beefing about.
The brainy type wouldn't have looked at you. And I'm beefing because I'm not nearly as stupid as you think I am. I'm beefing because half the time when you're supposed to be improving your mind and getting your lousy degree, you're really down at the pool hall.
Hey, look, what our business is it yours what I do?
I'm your wife. If it isn't my business, then whose
Look,
is it?
I'm the man, and I can do whatever I want to do.
Some man. Some big deal lousy.
That's right.
Oh, get away from me, damn you! Baby, you filthy ants off me!
Baby, you really turn me on. You get sore like this?
Oh, yeah, because then you could get rough. Well, I don't like it rough.
Oh, huh?
You know I don't, because I never know what's going to happen next, and I can't stand it.
Well, I can't stand you.
Then why did you leave?
Because I love you.
You know, I was thinking, maybe we could invite Holly and Al over, get beer, pizza, have a real Sunday evening like other people do.
Well, maybe you could just invite Holly over, and I'll go out and, leave you and Holly alone. Or better yet, maybe we could have a threesome.
Won't you quit?
Hmm?
Won't you ever quit? Stop it. Stop being sweet one minute and a son of a bitch the next. I'm gonna go crazy. No, I don't want you now.
You thought I was queer, huh? What a joke.
So crazy, Holly, and it's getting worse. It's so crazy I don't even know what to do anymore.
Now, what's getting worse? The jealous stuff?
Yeah, the jealous stuff and the fights. Any little thing. I wanted you to come over tonight, and you started with all that junk. He won't leave me alone about what happened between me and his cousin Ralph. What am I going to do, Holly? My folks won't even talk to me since I got back with John. What am I going to do?
What would you think about getting some help?
Help? What kind of help?
Well, there's some clinics. There's a friend of mine over at Waterman Counseling. Told me all about the crisis center.
Oh, John would have a fit. I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it.
Get you next time. Gotta go get lucky. Is this your treat, baby?
Whatever you say. Beer you talking about?
Well, I was, but...
You lost, huh? How much? All of it.
Is this the game you played with Ralph? Being miserable? Carried on about how lonely you are? Trying to make it feel sorry for you?
It's not a game, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm so miserable, And you know what happened with your lousy cousin. You know.
Maybe. I lost because I messed up my hand like a jerk. Come on, I'm sorry. All I want to do is hold you.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you get it? From the little tramp at Lucky's?
But you're the only one. I don't want anybody else.
No. No. You hurt me. I don't want you.
I don't mean to ever hurt you. I love you.
I know. I know you don't mean it. But it can't always be when you want it. Just never know where I'm at, where he's at. There's nowhere to turn.
That's what we're here for.
I know. I mean, that's what my friend Holly told me. I called Holly after a fight. The fights are awful. They're getting worse. He was looking at me like he was going to kill me. I guess I'm just real scared, Helen. It is Helen?
Mm-hmm. I won't bother you with the rest of it. Have you thought of separating? I mean, before he really does.
Oh, we've separated a couple of times. Once I went home to my folks. They're real straight-laced. They, never hug or anything. And I made this big mistake. I got pregnant by some married man. John came and got me, and they said that they didn't ever want to see my face again. The last thing my mom said was I was a dirty little whore.
You got an abortion?
John knew about it. And then there was another time. That one was his.
So, you split up and you get back together, and you split up and you get back together, and every time it's worse. How long have you been married?
4 years. Not married all that time together. But now, like I said, it's just, I'm real scared.
Greta, have you thought about leaving? For good. You're a person, you know. Person in your own right. You didn't sell yourself into slavery just because you got married.
I didn't? I tell John that. And what would I do? Be alone, go on welfare again?
It's not as hopeless as it sounds. We're here. We'll help. Just a matter of taking those first steps. I did it once. No, I did it twice. More years ago than I like to think about. Now I have a wonderful husband.
Did you miss him?
Miss who? I mean, which one?
I don't know. I was just thinking. When I'm away from John, I miss him. And when we're together, it just doesn't.
Well, being a victim's a hard habit to break.
But sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's so good.
I want you to meet someone. Remember, Greta, we're here for you. You can call any time. There's a hotline.
But don't use the hotline unless you're beaten, raped, and bloody. I get crazy with all these calls about nothing.
Charlie doesn't want to take his turn doing the dishes. What should I do?
Greta Rideout, this is Norma Joyce, our co-coordinator. She helped found this bootstrap operation and turn it into what?
Into this bootstrap operation. Good to know you, Greta.
Hi.
What's the matter? Come on, tell Mother.
Thinking about leaving John.
Don't be dumb.
I knew that's what you'd say. That's why I didn't say anything.
Did they tell you that at the crisis center? Oh, wait, no, they just suggested it, right? Shoot. Because up to them, this world wouldn't be anything but women.
It's not true. Helen has 4 kids and a terrific husband.
Listen, Greta, you've got a man. You have any idea what it's like out there with a kid and no man?
Yeah, I know.
Greta.
Hi. Hi, Deb. Is Jenny in her room?
No, I took her to the sitters. I was going to go to class, but Doug came over and, one thing led to
One beer led to another is what? All right.
Figured you could pick her up after you fix her something to eat.
Well, you figured wrong. Fix it yourself. I just got off work. Why do I have to do everything? I am a person, you know. I didn't sell myself into slavery just because I married you. I'm supposed to cook for you when you want it. I'm supposed to sleep with you when you want it.
Look, I keep telling you that's my right.
Oh, no, it's not. They changed the law. Did you know they changed the law? A man can go to jail for raping his wife.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
No, it's true. They changed it in '77. Nobody's tested it yet, and I get the feeling most people don't like the idea much.
How do you know so much about it?
Because it was on a local station for about a week. 48 hours a day.
Yeah, well, that's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. You're going to tell me a wife can get sore at her husband and yell rape?
Don't push me. One of these days, maybe you'll go too far.
Don't you push me, Greta.
It's nap time, honey. Sweet dreams.
All right, now. The kid's asleep.
Look, I gotta get to work. I gotta get the rest of the laundry out. My job is the only money.
Nothing, stop the money. I want you now. You're mine, and I want you now.
Close the drapes. Susan! You gotta help me! Susan! I'm so scared. John's been crazy. I don't know what he's gonna do. Can I use your phone? Can I call the police? Sure. What are you gonna say? I don't know.
Greta. Greta.
Susan! Susan, John got to me! He's gonna kill me. You gotta help me.
Try and calm down, Greta. Take it easy.
What should I do, Wanda? Should I wait for Ellen to come back? He beat me real bad this time. Beat my face in.
Okay, call the police.
Yeah, I'll call the police and I'll call you back. What's emergency?
555-6700.
That's it.
Salem Police Department, emergency line.
Yeah, my husband just got through beating me. You gotta help me. My name is Rideout. Greta Rideout. But I'm not home now. I'm hiding.
Greta Rideout. Can you give me your address, Mrs. Rideout?
It's 3755 26th Street Northeast. But I'm not there. I'm in the yellow apartment house across the street. I don't know. Susan, what's the number?
3555.
It's 3555. Yes, 26th Street.
Okay, and you're going to stay there then, aren't you?
Yes, I'm hiding.
Okay, we'll send an officer over there then right away.
Okay, they're coming. I'm gonna call Wanda back. It was so awful. He beat me and raped me. I feel so ashamed. I don't know. I'm so...
Shame is a natural reaction to rape, Greta. It's a violation. The worst kind of violation. Any woman feels ashamed. It's a crime, Greta. Have you thought? Are you gonna go for a rape charge?
Yes. Yes, he raped me.
Okay, now listen to me very carefully. I'll tell you exactly what to do. Don't shower. Don't change clothes. Go down to emergency at the hospital. You'll need a rape kit.
Want to go to the babysitter?
Yeah.
Want to bring Ferdinand with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
One Mary, 111 to jail division. Get inside a phone stand by requesting the frequency identifying. Go ahead.
No, John wouldn't hurt Jenny. I'm not scared of that. But I'm real scared. He beat me and raped me. I'm scared he's gonna kill me.
She wants to press charges now. Rape charges.
Yeah, we got that. I'll let the lady speak for herself.
I am speaking for myself. I'm scared to death. I want you to arrest him.
Mrs. Rideout, we understand that. But we want you to understand that in what we call battered wife cases, we usually make a practice of giving the women a few days to think about it.
See, they change their mind a lot of the times, and it saves on the court
Chauvinistic bull. Greta was raped. She was beaten into submission. She wants to file rape charges now.
Look, Mrs.
Biebelheimer.
Yeah, right. The thing is, we can't arrest John Rideout today for assault. She's got a nasty shiner. But then we won't be able to up the charge to rape.
Wait a couple of days. Then you can pursue the rape charge if she still wants to.
But he could kill me in a couple of days.
Going by the law of averages, I'd say it's unlikely.
The law of averages? He damn near killed her today. Will you look at her face? All right. All right, you're the police. What do you suggest?
Just like I said. Give her a couple of days.
Greta, you'll stay with me.
Let's take a couple shots, Greta. Both sides of your face. So in case you decide. Okay, Greta, that's all.
Dr. Allendale, please call the emergency room.
You can get dressed now.
X-ray technician, call the emergency room.
Very near tears, in moderate distress. Bruises around Mrs. Rideout's left eye and in the area of her left cheekbone. Also did a pelvic examination. Conclude from the findings and from Mrs. Rideout's emotional state that this was a forced episode of intercourse.
Where can he be? Where'd he take Jenny? I hope he dressed her warm enough.
I'll try not to worry so much. I said over and over that John is very good with Jenny. Maybe he took her to the sitter.
Oh, God, I'm so scared. Maybe I just ought to go back to him. Forget it.
Can't forget it. We can't prove those cops right. Just another battered wife. John can't get away with what he's done. And what's more, Greta, your courage in standing up to him will be a model for all those frightened wives who do go back.
I will. I'll be standing up for all those women.
Yes, you will.
John might really go to jail. He deserves something, but that...
6 months at the most. I'll never understand it. Just don't understand it.
What?
Why all those abused women insist on protecting their men.
It's not just John I'm thinking about protecting. It'll be a sentence for me too, Helen. I'm all alone without John. I know what it's like. I've been through it. I'll just ache inside. Ache and ache for him.
I'm sorry, Greta. I do understand. I was there once, where you are. I'm just so far away from it now. You know, those damn cops are right. I can't tell you how many women we get at the center, and we patch them up and try to give them a little strength, and they go running right back into the same mess. It's like trying to get a junkie off the dope.
I guess I'm hooked. John zapped me. I remember so clear. He zapped me the first time he ever smiled at me. I loved him that first second.
Get unhooked. Get off the stuff.
You know, there's another one of these colors. Except this is red and that's red. These both are red.
Oh. Well, I made it. Oh, you got here. Fantastic. We're afraid you'd be stuck in court.
No, they settled. Mr. Jones gets the stereo. Mrs. Jones gets the 8 kids.
Hi, Jean.
Hi, Norma.
Greta, this is Jean Christensen. We've been hoping to get her. I guess that Helen told you that she's going to handle your divorce.
Divorce?
Can't expect anyone to take your rape charge seriously if you don't file for divorce.
I hadn't thought about it. Oh, thanks.
I consider it a privilege. I'm very proud. Well, we're all proud of you, Greta. It takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing.
I'm not trying to be brave or anything. Of course you are. It takes guts.
She's right, Greta. It takes a lot of guts. And if you're not trying to be brave, you better be prepared to be. Any woman brave enough to prosecute a rape, let alone accusing her own husband, becomes a target. Men think you're available. They think somehow you asked for it. And women turn their backs on you.
Don't have to scare her, Jean.
I'm not scared.
Good. Because I'm just trying to lay out for you, realistically, what you're going to be in for. This town is very proper on the outside. They seem to follow the old adage. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you don't do it in the street. We'll back you in every way we can, Greta.
Boy, wait till our handsome DA hears that you're going to go ahead with the rape charge. He hasn't prosecuted a single rape charge in the 15 years since he's been in office. And now he has to. And one that comes under the new law. Greta, you're making it all happen.
Yeah, he beat me into submission. I thought he was going to break my jaw, and he was pressing on my neck so I couldn't breathe. So that's when I gave up, gave in. You see, he did beat me into submission. That's why I want to pursue the rape charge.
Rape is awfully hard to prove. I've handled a number of potential rape cases, and it always turns out to be one person's word against another.
Well, we know that, but we think there's enough proof.
That may well be. But let me ask you, have you considered the alternatives? You could charge him with assault, with sexual abuse. There's a stigma attached to being a rape victim, which is why most of them go unreported.
I want to go for rape 1. He deserves it. If he'd said he was sorry or something. But he didn't. He said I deserve it.
She deserved it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Greta hit me before. She caused bruises before. Hey, what's going on here anyway? Are you gonna arrest me?
Not yet. I'm questioning you.
Oh, hell. If I'd done it right, she wouldn't be here complaining.
Is it true that you hit your wife, causing the black eye and the swollen cheek?
Yeah, it's true. Greta wouldn't lie about me. But I didn't beat her when we were having sex. She wanted it then. Did you tell me something? Is it true that a man can be charged with rape of his own wife in the state of Oregon?
That's the new law.
Well, that's the dumbest thing that I ever heard.
Did you tamper with Greta's car so that she couldn't get away?
Yeah, I messed with it. And I chased her to the park and I brought her back just like she told you.
I have to read you your rights. You're under arrest for rape in the 1st degree. You have the right to remain silent, now and at any future time. You do not have to answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand this right?
Neat-looking door you ran into. Tony, cover for me, would you? Excuse me. I've run into a neat-looking one myself a couple times, but I don't go yelling rape.
Who told you?
It's a small town. You gonna work today or what?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm back. What's first? Melons?
No, those are done. Start putting the rotten oranges on the bottom. Listen, Greta, let me give you a little warning. I was surprised when you walked in here, because the boss already told me that if you go ahead with this rape crap, you're out of a job. Try and find another one, kid.
I don't get it. I'm the one it happened to. I'm the victim. Why is he firing me?
He thinks what most men think. Nobody gets raped without asking for it.
I think that's what you think.
You know better than that. I just don't see why you have to make such a big deal about it just because your husband gets rough every once in a while. They all get rough every once in a while.
Not like John.
Just like John. You just haven't lived with the rest of them. Shoot, I get a black eye about once a month. It comes with food on the table, the kids' shoes, the medical bills. Someone who wants you is not looking at the gray hairs and the stretch marks. Comes with the curse, kid.
Hey, Ralph. You decided to join me?
No, kid. I decided to get you out of here. You get the hell out. Well, I raised your bail money. You can walk out of here anytime you want.
I can? Oh, man, thank you. You're a real friend, cuz.
Hey, that's not all. Family's got to stick together, huh? Working at the pen like I do, I guess I got an in with some of the boys there.
Yeah, I bet you they're scared to death of you.
Hey, talk to your lawyer when your mother got you.
Mm-hmm.
And he agrees it's a good idea that I get you somebody that specializes in this kind of a rap. You know, to work along with Geller. I think it's going to take some doing. I asked some of the hardcore boys. I says, hey, fellas, my little cousin got himself into some kind of trouble. He's been indicted by the grand jury for rape 1, for raping his own wife. So up steps this little weasel. He says, hey, Charlie Burt, let me put it this way. I wouldn't get Charlie Burt unless I was caught in the act. If I was caught in the act, I wouldn't get anybody else.
Well, I appreciate it, Ralph. I really appreciate it. I can't believe it. I can get out of here. Oh.
Hey, John. Did you rape Greta?
No. Did you?
No.
Come on in.
Mr. Bird?
Geller.
Mr. Bird. Hi, Ralph. This is John.
Hello, Mr. Burke. I heard a lot about
Sit
you.
down, sit down. These fellas been singing my praises? Well, don't listen to them. I'll sing my own. I've decided to take your case, John, in association with Geller here as defense attorney. I don't want you to worry. This nonsense will be over soon. There's really no case against you.
I don't get it. How come?
Well, there's something known in legal jargon as common law. That's law that's been accepted through history. In this case, it's been accepted since the beginning of time that a man can't rape his wife. That sex of any kind is his marital privilege. Now, when a statute has been repealed but not replaced, then the common law comes back into effect. And the statute was repealed in '77 but not replaced. I've had 26 years as a trial lawyer. I've won every case so far against my old pal Gary Gortmaker, the DA, and I intend to win this one hands down.
Well, Mr. Bird, I don't have any money. I just got my old job back at the coffee shop.
I'm not doing this for money. I think you're getting the shaft. And this case can revoke an absurd law. Don't worry, you'll pay, eventually. By the way, did you rape your wife?
No.
I just wondered. You have a stylist, my boy?
Stylist, hairstylist?
Yeah. You know, he could use some touching up. Perhaps a permanent to get some of the stringiness out of his hair. Some Ivy League clothes, and during the trial, get him some cortisone shots, clear up his skin. Also keep him from jumping around as he seems to have a habit of doing. You're going to be so handsome and clean-cut, my boy, that no one could possibly look upon you as a rapist.
Listen, I've been thinking I'd kind of like to see Greta. I mean, before things go any further.
There's a chance.
What?
I said I don't think there's a chance.
Well, I mean, see, maybe if we could, you know, get together and work out our differences. Well, maybe.
Do what you like, John. But if you have any contact with Greta whatsoever, you're going to forfeit your bail bond, you're going to go to jail, and you're going to stay there without pass and go. Got it? Let's give it a slight wave, a little fullness.
Suppose I saw Greta.
Oh, yeah, the Oxford blue is best.
What about this one?
No, suppose I went back to jail. How long?
Now, don't be a jerk.
The blue highlights his eyes better.
No, when will the trial be, Mr. Bird?
I've always rather enjoyed the Christmas holiday.
I don't understand.
Now, he means that if the trial goes into Christmas, they probably won't sequester the jury. They'll have been exposed to the news, the papers, and all that anti-Greta publicity.
I didn't say that, Paul. You hear me say that? I said I always enjoyed a holiday. I enjoy, as a jury will enjoy, being close to hearth and home, a long, peaceful Christmas weekend.
Well, you won't hurt Greta, will you?
Hurt her?
I mean, I don't mind you making me look good. I want to get off, but I don't want you to make her look bad.
Pete, no cuffs on the pants. Don't make them too tight. John, you're looking good.
Greta, you've got to watch what you say to people. Have you thought anymore? Have you reconsidered lowering the charge?
Yes, that's all I've thought about, Mr. Gortmaker. But I just feel that I can't back down now. I can't let everybody down.
Well, if everyone really wants this case, I guess we got to give it to them. But if I were looking for a case to test the law, I wouldn't pick this one.
What do you mean?
I mean just that. The police treated this like any other battered wife case. They waited. But that's over with. It's done. I get what they give me. Let's go forward. The pre-trial hearing is scheduled. It's closed. No juries, no press. The point is, if Well, the judge will decide whether your past sexual history will be admissible to the trial.
Oh, it is.
Brother, the victim's past history is rarely allowed to be brought up. Now, are you sure that you've told me everything that John has on you?
Told you what to do. And just don't let old Charlie trick you. He is a master at
Yes, there he is. I thought from the way the Gortmaker talked that he and Bert were enemies.
Oh, no, not enemies. They're competitors. Actually, they're very good friends. They went to school together. Went to law school together. They go fishing.
Oh, how cozy.
Dickie.
Gentlemen.
How's the beautiful Sally?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
Dickie. The judge, too.
Oh, yeah. They all went to school together.
And at that time, did you tell your husband that Ralph Larson had raped you?
Yes?
And following that time, have you told other persons that those statements were not true, that Ralph Larson, in fact, did not rape you?
I did it one time, yes.
Well, who'd you tell? Who'd you tell that Ralph Larson did not rape you, that the story was not true?
Well, John?
Your husband.
Yes.
So you told your husband both that Ralph Larson did rape you and that Ralph Larson did not rape you?
Yes. But the reason
Now,
that
if I understand your earlier...
Excuse me. Did you have something you wanted to say?
The reason I told John that he did not was because Ralph had come into the store where I was working and threatened my life if I didn't go back to John and retract my statement.
All right. Please continue.
Now, with the exception of this other man that you described and named in Minnesota, have you had sexual relations with any other man during this period of time?
No.
You know a woman named Holly Duncan?
Yes?
How long have you known Holly Duncan?
Since 1976.
So when?
Since 1976.
Did you ever tell your husband, John Rideout, that you and Holly Duncan had had a sexual relationship and had dropped it?
I don't think it was like that, no.
Did you ever tell your husband that you and she had started to have a sexual relationship and had decided against it?
Yes.
You told John Rideout that?
Yes?
Was that true?
No, it wasn't true.
Well, what precisely did you and Holly do that...
No, we talked. She had mentioned a few things about sex between her and her husband, and I did. I had a feeling that he may have been homosexual in some way.
You mean that John might have been?
Yeah. And I felt that maybe that would be an easier way to approach him by telling him that I almost did.
So you did tell John that you and Holly had had or almost had a sexual relationship?
Yes.
And have you? Well, this incident with Mrs. Duncan, apparently you're telling us now, was actually something that you fantasized in your own mind.
Yes, I wondered. I tried to imagine.
Have you had this imagination you're talking about? Have you had other sexual fantasies concerning either men or women?
Yes.
Your Honor, it's extremely difficult to keep up with what fantasies are. She didn't use the word fantasy. I think she's got a different concept of the word imagination.
Let me rephrase it. It's possible that I'm misleading you. When I'm talking about a sexual fantasy, I'm referring to a state of affairs that you may have projected in your own mind. You know what I'm talking about. Now, have you had other fantasies of this type, which you thought out in your head?
Yes.
And did they involve both men and women?
Most just men.
I was smiling and laughing. Do you believe it? Why did I do that?
It's a perfectly natural reaction. In a pressure situation, it's natural. Don't worry about it.
If they let all that stuff into court, I'm gonna look awful, like some kind of tramp, and I'm not.
Of course you're not. Spell out anybody's past, they're gonna look awful.
Hey, Greta. Excuse me. We got bad news, Greta. The judge decided to make an exception. Please, something to do with motivation. What can I tell you?
Didn't you fight it? They told me you could protest it.
I thought about it. I thought it would be worse for you. If the facts about your past are not allowed to come up, people might think they're worse than they are.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Mark, ladies.
Believe that.
What do you think you are?
Bitch. You lied. You lied, didn't you?
No, I didn't. You're twisting everything.
Speaking of twisting, how did you like it, Greta? Huh?
Come on. You can tell us. Just talk like you do when you're sitting in a bar.
I don't talk that way. I never talk that
Oh, come on. What about Ralph? How did Ralph like it, huh?
Just sketch the apartment, Greta. Just a crude outline.
I can't do it.
What kind of a witness are you gonna make if you can't even sketch your own apartment?
I don't think they're going to treat me this way.
They're gonna treat you exactly this way. Who do you think we are? We work for the DA.
We're on your side.
I just don't think you guys are helping her at all.
Well, I don't think you guys are helping her at all.
Hung up on me. That turkey hung up on me.
Listen, Norma, I've been talking to Greta, and we feel we ought to get a change of venue. Move the trial. Well, you see what's happening in this town. Salem is suddenly becoming very moralistic.
No, we live here. We're going to see this thing through if it's the last thing we do. How come you're calling on the hotline, Mr. Courtmaker? Somebody beating you up? Oh, it's your policy to stay out of these things. You're sorry. Would you like to tell that to Greta?
Hello?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry it happened. Forget the whole thing. They won't bother you again. I'm sorry it happened.
Okay. Okay, we'll just forget about it.
Listen, I think you're making a big mistake. It's not too late to move the trial.
I just can't deal with it. I'm too beat. All I want to do is go home. God, I wish I could see John. I just want to go home.
Touchdown in the third quarter with a 40-yard pass. Gary Davis carried the ball in from the 1.
And now for the local news.
The nation is focusing in on Salem, Oregon. A trial is about to take place that may affect us all. Greta Rideout has accused her husband, John Rideout, of rape in the first degree. The news seems to have spread quickly. The story of a husband on trial for raping his wife was first picked up by a Los Angeles newspaper, and tonight it was even discussed by Walter Cronkite. That is all there is.
John, they say they want the sensual salad. I ain't kidding. It's right here on the menu.
Will you get out of here?
You're a real live celebrity, Johnny. I asked one of them girls how she wants her eggs, and she says, fertilized. What's this, man? Hot fudge with blueberries?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm a little more spaced out than I thought. It's, the cortisone shots didn't make it clear up my zits.
Mr. Courtmaker.
Mr. Garmaker, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Talk about
Johnny for a second. Mr. Garmaker, do you expect to
Gary, did you catch our segment on the morning news?
Too busy getting a catcher.
Well, maybe you can tell me a little bit about what you're planning here.
No, she won't be there until she testifies. She's a witness. She's not accused of anything. Finish your breakfast. Oh. Just let it rain. I gotta get out of here. Norma's waiting on me in court. Take care of yourself.
John, you plan to take a stand on your own behalf. You testify. What can you tell us? Have you had any communication with Greta at all since you were arrested?
This is case of 108-866, State of Oregon versus John Joseph Rideout. The above-mentioned defendant has been accused by the grand jury, County of Marion, State of Oregon, of the criminal offense of rape, first degree.
God, he looks just like a Ken doll.
The court reserves the right to consider the issue of the motion to deny the defense of marital privilege until conclusion of testimony.
I asked that the case be thrown out on the grounds that you were married, and he just said that he wouldn't consider it until he hears all the testimony.
Jury is now complete. 8 women, 4 men, and 4 alternates.
How come all the dames?
Women are their own worst critics.
I don't get it. I don't get anything. I'm all fuzzy-headed. You think maybe we could cut out the cortisone shots? I look pretty good.
Let's keep it that way.
Mr. Garmaker?
I don't get it.
What? Get what?
Well, he's got a lawyer's wife on that jury and the wife of a state Supreme Court justice. It's almost unheard of.
Now, this is a most unusual case because of the nature of the alleged crime and the law to which it relates. Simply, that is the case. Either he did the act or he didn't. It was either forcible compulsion or it wasn't. I'll hurry along so I don't bore the rest of you like I appear to be Mr. Burt. Sometimes we have a tendency with the witness to rephrase their answers for them. So if you hear me saying, what you mean is, it's a good idea to keep a check on me, keep an eye on me throughout the trial, to be sure that we're absolutely fair. And while you're at it, keep an eye on Mr. Burt, too, will you? Thank you.
Mr. Burt, may we have your opening statement?
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, the court, counsel, ladies and gentlemen. The defense intends to prove in this case that Greta Rideout has a serious sexual problem. That this whole problem is a result of a serious marital sexual problem of a young woman who is married to a young man. That neither of them can solve it, nor could they ever understand it. And it has brought them both to this court, and to the publicity and fame, or infame, if you want to put it that way, that this case will have on both of them for the rest of their lives.
You have a second, Gary?
Do you? Sure.
What about that jury? The lawyer's wives. Isn't that a little bit unusual?
Well, you worried about them being influenced? You know Pauline Spister. She's known to be intelligent and fair. Joan Lentz, a liberal. And answer your question?
If you can guarantee me they're not on speaking terms with their husbands.
Jane, you'll have to excuse me.
Watch it. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Burt? Have you got just a moment? Hold it. Hold it out, Burt. Do you mind if I have just a moment?
Mr. Burt?
Look, I'm not mad. We left our client there all alone with the TV crew going down. I understand the natural competitiveness of the press, but if you'll just not push or shove, I'll answer all your questions.
Mr. Byrd, will the jury be sequestered if the proceedings run into the Christmas weekend?
Well, that depends on the timing and on the judge's decision.
If the jury's not sequestered, won't they be influenced by all the publicity?
Well, they'll be instructed not to be influenced.
Sequestered or not sequestered hasn't got anything to do with anything. Is it true that Greta's had 3 abortions? A couple of them not John's.
Fellas, that's the end of the question.
Let's go. Hold on, Mr. Byrd. Another question. I understand that John is not holding up under the pressure. Can you say anything at all about this abortion thing? Please, just one more question. Is it going to come up in court?
It's 3 55. Yes, 26th Street.
Okay, and you're going to stay there then, aren't you?
Yes, I'm hiding.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to note that she called the Women's Crisis Center in Salem before she called the police. And she didn't mention rape in that call or in this one. It's only after her second call to the Women's Center that she thought of rape. Her testimony will show that Greta Rideout used the words of a sign in the Women's Center stating, if she says no, it's rape.
Mrs. Godfrey, would you keep your voice up loud, please?
I'm sorry.
You and your husband manage an apartment complex where John and Greta Rideout lived. In number 2, isn't that correct?
Yes?
Okay. Did you notice anything unusual on that day around 3 o'clock p.m.?
No.
When after that did you first see Mrs. Rideout? After the 10th of October, 1978?
I spoke to her on the phone on the 11th, but I seen her on the 12th.
Okay, on the 12th. Did you notice anything different? Unusual about her appearance?
No.
Well, did she have a black eye?
Yes?
Well, isn't a black eye unusual?
No. But I seen her a couple of times after the 12th. I came down to collect the rent, and she was all excited about the publicity she was getting, telling me that she was going to be rich and famous.
Why are you staring at me like that? Are you aware, Mrs. Godfrey, for 2 months there wasn't any publicity?
No.
Well, you are now.
Okay. I heard voices, or a voice, and a screaming voice talking to another person. I could hear bumping on the wall.
Was this loud bumping? Did you hear it plainly in your apartment?
Uh-huh. I also heard muffled sounds like someone was trying to yell real loud and couldn't get their voice out.
Tell us what in life you know would make a sound like that.
Like the sound of someone who were gagged or who had a hand over their mouth.
Thank you, Miss Morrison. That's all the questions I have. Oh, just one more thing. Sorry. Are you aware that the witnesses are not supposed to discuss their testimony?
Yes, sir.
It's come to my attention that the witnesses have been talking together. Have you any knowledge of this?
Well, some of the people have been waiting quite a while. It's natural to talk.
Thank you. Please do not discuss your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Continue, Detective Steele.
He said if I'd done it right, she wouldn't be here complaining. He said he'd hit her, but didn't beat her up while they were having sex. Oh, yes, he said Greta wouldn't lie about me. And then he asked me if it was true that a man could be charged with raping his wife in Oregon.
Sure, it's like the Army. Hurry up and wait. I don't know why Gortmaker calls us. We just end up hanging around.
Frankly, I don't give a damn. I just want to get called so I get back to my job. I lost 3 days already, and they don't pay for it.
Bill, I'll have to stay in for lunch. I don't want anybody talking to anybody. I'm going to try to stop these TV interviews. I think the witnesses are listening and collaborating. Ladies, please, do not discuss your testimony.
What's going on? Whether he meant to or not, he just managed to create a whole set of hostile witnesses.
The night of the 9th, Greta did appear to know that there was some kind of new law permitting a wife to charge her husband with rape. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Now, the argument you observed between John and Greta Rideout on the 9th of October, was there any kind of threat made as to John's finding out about the law of rape in Oregon?
When he said that he didn't have any knowledge of the law and didn't believe it, she responded by stating, one of these days, John, you're going to go too far, as far as being an out-and-out threat. It was in a fairly threatening tone of voice.
All right, let's finalize this. Did you ever hear John Rideout make any statement as to whether or not he loved or didn't love his wife?
He made that statement many times. At one point, at many points. He said, I love you, Greta. And then he went on to whatever they were arguing about.
Any more questions from this witness?
No further questions.
All right, Mr. Lowe, you are excused.
Have you seen Greta Rideout since the 10th of October, 1978?
Yes, I have.
What'd you talk about? Not your words. What was the subject of your conversation?
I told her that I would like to, me and my wife, to be able to communicate with her during these events.
I bet you would. But what was the subject matter you're talking about? Your cousin's defense in the trial? Whether or not he did it?
No.
Tried to talk her out of it. This is what the subject matter. I don't want to know your exact words that you talked about. Why did you see her?
She was a good friend to my wife and a good friend with me before this happened.
That's a fair statement. She accuses your cousin of rape in the first degree. He's arrested, and you don't want to talk about the case? You went to see her because she's a good friend.
She didn't know exactly whether she wanted to press charges or not.
I knew you were going to say that when you came here, but I don't believe you.
Ralph, did you not also say that you had, that you were upset with John over a period of time?
Yes, sir, I was.
As a matter of fact, hadn't Greta Rideout accused you of something? A sexual assault?
First, I thought it was a joke. So then I told her if she was serious about it, she could pack her clothes and get out.
But later on, did Greta Rideout change that statement?
No, not to me directly, but to other people, yes.
I will now ask you under oath. Is there, or was there ever any truth in this accusation?
No, sir, none whatsoever.
Is it Miss Duncan or Mrs.?
Miss.
Ms. Duncan. You told the jury that you believed Greta was an honest person.
Yes.
Did you ever suggest to Greta that you and she have a sexual affair?
No.
Would your opinion of this young woman's honesty change if you knew that under oath she had said that you did have such an affair?
I don't think Greta would say something like that.
Well, if she did say that.
Well, I'll object to the F. That's going too far.
Objection overruled.
Did you understand my question?
No.
All right. If Greta said under oath that she told her husband that you and she had a homosexual affair, would that change your opinion of her honesty?
I know why she said that.
Oh, you do know that she told him that?
She didn't say that we had a... She was baiting him.
Baiting him? Is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
But you knew about that?
No, not at the time, no.
But you knew about it later?
Uh-huh.
And you tell us now it was a lie?
Of course it was a lie.
And this is what you would have us believe is your qualifications for an honest person? One who would lie about something like that?
I would say that Greta was an honest person, yes.
You mean she's an honest person, but she happens to lie about sex? Is that right?
That's an unfair question.
Do you have an objection?
Yes, it's badgering the witness.
Overruled objection. You may answer the question. It can be answered yes or no.
Could I have the question again?
Please read the question again.
She's an honest person, but she just happens to lie about sex. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just said she was an honest...
You may answer yes or no.
Yes.
I have nothing further.
You're excused.
You're smearing Greta, Mr. Burt. You can't do that. I don't want you to do that.
You want 20 years?
Also did a pelvic examination. Conclude from the findings and from Mrs. Rideout's emotional state that this was a forced episode of intercourse.
However, your findings from the pelvic examination could have been the same under other circumstances. If a certain position had been used, the length of intercourse involved, degree of aggressiveness.
I can't say for certain that there was a rape, because rape is a legal term and not a medical term.
No further questions.
Excused. This court is recessed and will reconvene on Tuesday, December the 26th, following the three-day Christmas weekend. Because of the holiday, the jury will not be sequestered, but you are reminded not to discuss this case, not to watch television, not to read any newspapers. And we will take up again at 9:30 on Tuesday morning, and I will dismiss you with this final instruction. Have a very Merry Christmas. Court is adjourned.
expect this jury not to hear anything.
And whose decision was this? The decision to postpone was Mr. Burke's. Right, Charles? The decision not to sequester the jury was the judge's.
Nice buck passing, Mr. Gortmaker. Why did you call so many witnesses that are pro-John?
You know about the law of discovery. There's no big surprises. The defense and the prosecution exchange evidence.
Well, you sure managed to create a whole lot of hostile witnesses.
Doesn't answer the question. Why did you call so many witnesses that are pro-John?
Because they're all I've got. That's off the record, kid.
What a game. The judge allows Greta's past history, the lawyers' wives.
And John sits there smelling like a rose. No one said one word about his past.
Then they let the jury go home for 3 days.
They'd have to be deaf and dumb.
Why isn't anybody seeing what I think I'm seeing?
Because you're so smart. I'm beginning to see it, too.
Well, Tuesday's the big day. Greta's just gonna have to do her stuff.
I better be getting home to her.
Tell her Merry Christmas.
I will. You too. Merry Christmas.
He was banging on the door, yelling, "Greta, you'd better open up." He kept banging on the door, and I could hear muffled voices outside. I ran out the back door, ran to the left, ran all the way to the laundry room, and hid there. He was under the hood doing something to the car. I thought at that time, I'm just going to have to make a run for it on foot. So I took off running as fast as I could, running across the park. As I was running, I looked in back of me, and there was John, and I just felt at that time that I was caught and stopped dead in my tracks. He grabbed my arm very hard and said, "Do you want me to beat you up and rape you right here?" So I went back with him. I just thought to myself he probably would. I'd never seen him that angry, and I was really afraid. We went in the back door. He went in behind me. He then slammed the door shut, locked it. He grabbed me, threw me down on the floor. He said, "Are you going to cooperate?" And I said, "No." He then took his right hand, open fist, and slugged me on the left side of my face. I just more or less, I was in shock. I couldn't say anything. He slugged me again. I started to cry, and I could hear Jenny crying. I was trying to get John's hands off my throat, and Jenny was crying. She came into the room, and John yelled at her to get out, and she did. I couldn't breathe. I was trying to scream, at the same time trying to get John's hands off me. I almost fainted. Things were falling away from me at that point. And I could still hear Jenny crying. John then let his hands off my mouth and throat. And I said, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "You don't understand, I love you." And I said, "No, you're sick." You're sick. He then took a closed fist with his right hand and slammed down on my face, almost knocking me out. I had at that point decided to submit to him, to what he wanted. My jaw hurt. I thought I'd have a broken jaw if I was hit anymore. I was laying on the floor. I just laid there. John wanted me to respond, and I wouldn't. John then pulled my jeans off, left my sweater on. He asked me to kiss him. He said, "Kiss me, kiss me." And he threatened to smash in the other side of my face if I didn't kiss him. So I kissed him. I wasn't touching him. He said he'd smash in my face if I didn't put my arms around him, and I put my arms around him. He said harder, so I squeezed harder. I was crying, sobbing. I couldn't say anything. He was... Then... he penetrated me. Having sexual intercourse with me then. I did it again. I was smiling. Why?
I didn't know where Greta was when she was hiding in the laundry. So I went and got a car, and I was tampering with it so it wouldn't start. And I still couldn't see her anyplace, so I went back in the apartment to check on Jenny. And she was still sleeping. So I stepped back outside, and that's when I saw Greta running through the park. And I just asked her to come on back home with me, and she did. When we got back to the apartment, well, she started, she hit me first, and she slapped me, and I grabbed hold of her arms, and she tried to slap me again, and then I felt this pain, and she kneed me in the groin, and I remember I stepped back, and then I stepped forward, and I hit her on the left side of the face, and I hit her a lot harder than I meant to. And then Jenny came in the room, and she was crying, and I yelled at her to get out, and she did. I saw Greta's face, and I felt real terrible. You know, I felt real about this big. And I said to Greta that I was sorry, and I said I love you, and I don't mean to do it. And I took her into the bathroom, and then I asked her if she should go to the hospital, and she said no, that she was all right. And so, remember, she turned, she reaches for me. So we went back into the living room on the floor, and she told me that it hurt a little bit. And I told her again that I was sorry, that I didn't mean to do it. And I kissed her. And she said that it was all right. It was just that we just both got a little upset. And I agreed with her, and so she said that let's make up. and she wanted it done. I mean, it was voluntary.
We have another problem with Mrs. Rideout's testimony. Here's a lady who's obtained her definition of rape from the Crisis Center, which I submit is not a legal definition, never was, never will be, I hope, from a man's point of view. It would be rather a tough standard. But that is, notwithstanding, she wants out of this marriage. She's been trying since the 26th to raise enough money for a lawyer to file the papers. And we also have Greta saying to Mr. Lowe that a wife can charge her husband with rape. It's on the very night before she says the thing happened. It would be unthinkable that any party to a criminal act would very carefully inquire about the law of that crime on the very night before the thing occurred. That cannot be coincidence. Ladies and gentlemen, this young woman had this in her mind. This is a way out. She took it. If you believe that this boy is not guilty, or you have doubts as to his guilt, or a reasonable doubt, have the courage to say so. Under our law, no one can criticize you for your verdict. Will you label this man a rapist for the rest of his life? We ask you to find the defendant not guilty. Thank you.
She told the truth. You read the transcript, and even though Mr. Burt, in his questions, did it eloquently and very well, you won't find her lying anywhere in that transcript. Anywhere in this court, anywhere in this courtroom. You've heard all the facts. Now, Mr. Burt and I have worked against each other and with each other over the years many times, as he's indicated. And for 18 years, I've prosecuted cases right in this courtroom, many times before Judge Barber. This isn't the first Rideout case I've seen. But this is the first Rideout case I've seen in this court. Usually they end up one of two ways. Suicide or homicide. Now, don't we as people of reasonable minds owe all the Greta Rideouts in this country the use of the law? Rather than suicide or homicide? Thank you.
After the break, the jury will receive instructions from the judge, right?
Yeah, all the lesser charges.
Well, they've got to include lesser charges.
They gotta give the jury a choice.
Well, they could find him guilty of rape 1, which would be hard to do. Or they could find him guilty of assault.
Which wouldn't be so hard. Or sexual abuse, which would not be hard at all.
Mr. Gordmaker.
Yeah?
Do you think John will go to jail?
I wouldn't say so. Certain pressure groups want Rideout to go up for 20 years as an example. I don't think the guy belongs in prison. I think he ought to be talking to a professional about women.
Are you requesting lesser included charges?
I've been thinking about it. If I can catch the judge before we reconvene, I'll probably ask for them. Excuse me.
Well, the whole case depends on it. You've got a clear case of assault, but you haven't proved rape.
The defense motion of marital privilege has been denied. Under the law in the state of Oregon, marriage is not a defense against rape. There are no lesser included charges. So, you are to find the defendant, John Rideout, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of rape in the first degree or not guilty of rape in the first degree.
Will the defendant please rise?
We find the defendant, John Rideout, not guilty.
Gary, you only owe me 7 cents. It's 3 cents a point. 7 for winning, remember?
Well, at least Greta stood up.
And it'll be a cold day in hell before another woman decides to stand up in Marion County.
I'm sorry.
Greta, hey, why don't you go on home now? Get some rest.
Hi, it's me, John. Listen, I think we ought to get together, you know, now that it's okay. You know, to talk about custody and stuff. Listen, I'm sorry, Greta. I'm real sorry for all that you went through.
Yeah, me too. We can't meet where people see us, you know.
What about if we were to meet at the parking lot behind the school? After dark, maybe about 9.
Okay.
Okay. I see you. Bye. I swear, God, I'll throw him out. You let Greta come back to me and I'll throw him out for good. Like I said, I thought we ought to talk about custody and...
Yeah.
Is it really awful?
I think we're the only ones who really know how awful it was. The trial and everything.
I promise that I'll never be like that again. Never again. Never again.
Stay tuned, because up next on True Movies 1, Which Way Home, Part 2. Alternatively on True Movies 2, The Boys of St. Vincent, Part 2. And on True Entertainment, Helter Skelter.